Hello everyone, this is Sweetheart. Enjoy the watch. An unconscious young girl, Jennifer Remming, washes up on the shore of a tropical island after her ship is wrecked during a storm. Having come to her senses, the heroine notices her friend Brad nearby, bleeding due to the coral sticking out in his side, and tries to help him by pulling the poor guy out of the water. The guy woke up from sharp pain and first of all asked if she had seen something strange. However, the girl ignored the question and ran into the forest to look for drinking water for him. Soon she managed to find a coconut, and after some fiddling around, extracted coconut water from it. Satisfied, Jennifer immediately returned to her friend, but by that time he had already died from loss of blood. Dejected by the loss, the girl goes along the shore to inspect the island and, if possible, find other people, but after some time she again finds herself next to Brad's body. The island turned out to be quite small. Then, the heroine decides to go deeper into the forest, where she is surprised to find personal belongings left behind by someone. An old bag, a backpack with toys, and a shabby insulated container with expired Coca-Cola indicated that someone had already been on the island. At sunset, Jennifer covers the body of a friend with palm leaves and spends her first night in the forest, fleeing the tropical rain under an old blanket. In the morning, the heroine tried to have breakfast with the fish that she found on the shore, along with the torn corpse of a shark. But due to the fact that it was not possible to properly cut it, the girl had to abandon this idea. Later, among other people's things, Jennifer found a diary with a cute photo of the couple. Unfortunately, the water washed out all the ink, so it was impossible to read the contents of the diary. The disgruntled girl continues to explore the island and soon makes a terrible discovery. Deep in the forest, in a sandy clearing, there were 3 graves. The initials carved into the stones indicated that an entire family was buried here. The grim discovery prompted the heroine to return to the beach and bury Brad, burying his body in the sand. In the evening, tired from the day's shocks, Jennifer lit a fire using old matches and satisfied her hunger with fried fish. However, the new day brought her even more reasons to worry. Someone or something tore open Brad's grave, leaving a bloody mess in place of his corpse. The terrible sight forced the frightened girl to arm herself with a sharpened stick and henceforth be on alert in anticipation of an attack. After sitting by the fire all night, Jennifer notices a suitcase swaying on the waves far from the shore. Swimming up to him, the heroine decides to dive, and to her surprise discovers a mysterious, ominous funnel at the bottom, after which she hurries to return to the shore. There were a lot of women's things in the suitcase, so the girl was finally able to change clothes. That same night, the rumble of a helicopter flying past was heard in the sky above the island. In the hope of salvation, Jennifer hastened to fire a single flare, but no one noticed it. Instead, as she fell into the ocean, she illuminated a dark figure sticking out of the water. In horror, Jennifer rushed into the forest and hid among the thickets. And a little later, very close, a creature appeared. After searching around, the monster left without noticing the girl trembling with fear. In daylight, Jennifer accidentally discovers hidden Polaroids of the family who owned the items. In one of the photographs, behind the smiling woman, a pair of alien eyes sparkled in the darkness. After what she saw, the girl decided to leave the island on an improvised raft, consisting of a suitcase and 2 life jackets, but nothing worked out for her as it constantly capsized. It was no longer safe to spend the night on the shore, but fortunately, Jennifer managed to find a hollow log and hide in it for the night. In the dead of night, heavy footsteps were heard outside again, followed by a disgruntled growl. The monster apparently sensed its victim, and therefore began to pound and turn over the log, trying to shake the girl out of it. Having failed, the creature left, and Jennifer got out of her shelter the next morning, rejoicing that she was able to survive. During the day, the heroine came up with a plan. She caught a small shark and hung it on a tree while she hid in a hole to finally find out what kind of monster was ruling the island. However, the idea failed miserably as the monster stole the bait without revealing itself. The next morning, the mutilated corpse of one of the ship's passengers, named Zach, washed ashore, and the heroine decided to again set up a night ambush using the man's remains as bait. This time, she saw how an anthropomorphic creature took the body and dragged it into the ocean. Jennifer spent the next day making a hammock out of an old rag and some rope and hanging it at a fairly high height. At night, a thunderstorm began to gather over the island, and gusts of wind, along with the creaking of trees, woke up the girl. Peering into the darkness, she noticed an ominous figure among the palm trees, carefully creeping towards her shelter. The monster knew exactly where Jennifer was, and this time he was almost able to grab his victim. Having fallen out of the hammock, the heroine began to run. The creature began to chase her, but the heroine managed to wound it with a sharpened stick, after which the creature disappeared into the ocean. When the sun rose, Jennifer began to put herself in order, when suddenly, a bright red, inflatable raft appeared on the horizon. Inside were the survivors from the ship, her friend Mia and her boyfriend Lucas. Having got out of the water, Jennifer immediately hugged her beloved, and a little later, she told her comrades about everything that happened here. To summarize, the girl states that they should immediately leave the island and sail to the west, since planes often fly in that direction, which means they can find help there. However, what they heard seems incredible to Lucas and Mia, and they want to stay, hoping that over time even more things will wash ashore, with the help of which they can hold out. Later, Jennifer takes Lucas's Swiss Army knife and goes in search of food, asking the guy to talk to Mia. To her surprise, the girl discovers dried blood on the knife. When she returned with a small catch, Lucas emphatically stated that he and Mia would not swim anywhere as they were tired and dehydrated. Moreover, the man hinted that the evil monster was just the result of Jennifer's rampant paranoia. The day was approaching evening. Watching Lucas and Mia having a nice conversation on the shore, Jennifer loaded supplies onto the raft and tried to leave the island unnoticed, but she was out of luck. Mia noticed her and, together with Lucas, returned her to the shore, stunning her friend with a blow to the head. Jennifer woke up at night, tied to a palm tree. Soon Lucas came up and arrogantly declared that he had not found any monster. Mia decided to take a walk along the shore, giving the couple the opportunity to discuss the current situation. During an emotional conversation, Lucas suddenly announced that Jennifer was as unbearable as Zach, and suddenly Mia's scream cut through the air. Lucas rushed to the rescue, but the creature still dragged her under the water. During the day, Jennifer finally convinces Lucas to leave the island by assuring him that the monster only comes out to hunt at night. Together they fish and prepare everything they need for the trip. Soon the couple lowers the raft into the water and sails some distance from the shore. Inside the inflatable raft, Jennifer notices traces of blood, guessing that Zach could have died here due to Lucas's fault. Suddenly, a monster attacks them, sinks the raft, and drags Jennifer away. The heroine was not taken aback and wounded him with a knife. Then the monster released her and headed towards Lucas. The man could not do anything, and the creature dragged him to the bottom, into its lair. Somehow, exhausted, Jennifer returned to the island. The girl decided that she would no longer hide and would give battle to the merciless creature. In case she doesn't survive, Jennifer writes her story in a diary and then begins preparations. When night fell on the island, the monster came ashore again in search of food. With the help of a fish, the heroine was able to lure him into a trap of dry grass and branches and then set it on fire. Having confused the monster, Jennifer unexpectedly attacked him several times, each time piercing his flesh with sharpened sticks. The enraged creature began to drive the girl towards the beach, but soon collapsed into the sand from injuries. The film ends with a scene in which Jennifer beheads a bloodthirsty monster while a large fire breaks out on the island. And here you will find even more stories. Subscribe, because it's interesting with us. See you soon, everyone.